Hello there, my name's James and this is my app. It's called Facial Movement Recorder and it's been live on the iOS App Store since January 2023. Since then, I've been showing it to expert clinicians and academics as well as people who live with facial palsy and tremors. I've been incrementally improving it with their help. It's my goal to build a complete service where clinicians will be able to assign movements and poses for their patients to record from the comfort of their own homes. In the meantime though, let me show you the main features of Facial Movement Recorder. Right now, you can just see my face on screen and I've got these 4 purple markers around my face. That's just the app's way of saying that it's found my face and it knows where I am. If I tap on the big red button down the bottom, what the app is now doing is recording the values of 52 locations on my face 60 times a second, as well as my eye rotation. I can tap on the big red stop button now to stop it. Then I can tap on this menu button down here to have a look at my recording. Here's a list of all the recordings made in the app and I can tap on the top one to select it and I get a 3D representation of my head, and if I tap on the play button at the bottom I can see a replay of the movements I was making when I was speaking. I can tap and drag to pan around the head or even pinch to zoom in. Over on the right I've got a button called All Data, and if I tap that I get graphs of all the raw data that Facial Movement Recorder captures. When I showed this to clinicians, they were a bit overwhelmed, so I made a way to narrow down the data on display to just the locations they were interested in. It's called Poses. So now I'll go back to the replay and tap on the button at the bottom called Pose and assign the talking pose, because in this recording I'm talking. Then on the left I'm going to select the Poses tab and select the talking pose. Now I get graphs of all the recordings marked as the talking pose back to back with only the locations I want to look at. Now let me show you another example. Here's a graph of 2 different recordings of chewing. I'll enlarge this graph to get a better view. And in this graph, the red line is how open my jaw is, and the blue line is how closed my mouth is. In the first recording, you can see the red line is high, but the blue line is low, meaning my mouth wasn't closed when my jaw was open. In other words, I was chewing with my mouth open. That means that the food I'm trying to eat might be escaping, which is bad for my nutrition. Even if it's not, I might be making me self-conscious, especially if I'm eating around others who might consider it bad manners. In the recording on the right, you can see now that when the red line is high, the blue line is also high, meaning that I'm now chewing with my mouth closed. This is a sign that my chewing has improved, which will also improve my nutrition and my self-confidence when I'm eating. Let's see another example. I'm going to tap on the smiling pose now to select it, and then select graph called synkinesis. Synkinesis is a natural part of a nerve regrowing after it's been damaged. The nerve starts to control areas of the body which it shouldn't. In the case of facial nerve damage, it's common to start closing your eyes when you try to smile, and that's what this graph shows. In the first recording, the purple and green lines are high, but the blue and yellow lines are low, meaning I was smiling but not closing my eyes. In the second recording, when I'm smiling and making the green and purple lines go high, the blue line is also high, meaning my right eye was closed. This shows I've developed synkinesis. I'm going to go back to the main camera view now to show you some more features. So all these features are great for clinicians and researchers to get data about facial movement, but what about the people who live with facial weakness and tremors? They often don't like even looking in a mirror because they're upset with their appearance. Well, this isn't a mirror, it's an iPad. So there are some things we can do. I'm going to tap on the Appearance button now and then choose Blur. And now it's still me, but with a bit less definition, and this might give me the confidence I need to use the app. I can even choose to have a bit less blur if I want more definition. Maybe I'll slowly build up more definition over time. But if I decide I need more definition but don't want a camera view, I can choose to have a completely virtual reality mask. This still feels completely natural because it's mirroring my movements at 60 frames per second and no lag. If I want, I can choose to customize the color of the mask, or pick something a little more natural looking, choosing a skin colour and an eye colour. Now when I showed this to some stroke survivors, they asked if they could have masks highlighting just certain areas of the face that they want to focus on, for example, just the lips or just the eyebrows. And clinicians also wanted the ability to mirror one side of someone's face onto both sides of the mask, which we can do down here. So if I smile with the left-hand side of my face, but not the right, and choose the left mirror, the smile appears on both sides of the mask. But it isn't there at all if I choose the right mirror, because that's showing the right-hand side of my face on both sides of the mask. Taking this approach one step further, we can choose to entirely hide either side of the mask. And all this mirroring and hiding is designed to make people feel comfortable using the app if they have a weaker side of their face and don't like to be confronted with it. The best part is that the mask still follows my face around. Now, if we want something a bit more realistic, we have some 3D avatars with more natural looking hair and teeth, and we can still mirror the movements to both sides. And finally, when talking with clinicians, they asked if I could make people laugh, because laughing makes us smile using a different part of the brain than if you just ask someone to smile. So you tell me, does this make you laugh? It's clear from speaking with clinicians and people living with facial palsy that there's a real desire for the service I'm planning. Asking people with facial palsy to perform rehabilitation exercises is something that's already done, but it's a bit basic compared to this. This will give clinicians valuable objective data for the first time ever while fitting neatly into existing workflows. I've been building software and apps like this for nearly 10 years, and while it's not small, it's not particularly complicated either. All the user flows are mapped, all the wireframes are laid out. I've got quotes from multiple different agencies about how much it's going to cost and how long it's going to take. It's not that much and it's not that long. With a little bit of funding, I'll be able to start building this end-to-end service, and everyone I've spoken to can start their pilot trials and clinical trials in a matter of months. Thanks for watching.